As coach gets settled in, we'll start with Brian, and then we'll go to Paul.
Okay.
Fire away.
Coach, I think it was like 17, 16-minute mark. You made a line change, basically. You had 5 subs come in and change the whole lineup there. What did you tell them coming onto the floor?
The ones coming off, the ones going on.
Either one.
Can't talk about the ones coming off. That was just a horrific start. I was obviously disappointed with that group that was on the floor to start the second half, even though it was the same group that started the first half. And trust me, I understand, like, big league, you're at home, you take your foot off the gas, but you just develop bad habits that way. And every coach in America, tries to guard against it. And I just was surprised. I was surprised, and unfortunately, in my haste to sub them out, we didn't have a 4-man. I was told by someone on the bench, and the response was, "I don't care." We got 5 new players in the court, and actually, they turned the tide. They kind of righted the ship and got the score back to where it was, and we stuck with that group for a while, and they did a nice job.
I asked Riley about this, and Kanye too, and I know you mentioned it a good bit in the off season about these all guys buying in and playing unselfish basketball. They seem to feed off that tonight. They seem to want to make that extra pass to lead to an easier bucket. Obviously, 26 assists says a lot with that, but you had I think 9 players that scored at 7 points or more tonight. I mean, is that, I know it's the kind of production you want, but that unselfish attitude, I'm sure that's something you'd like to see.
Yeah, we've been impressed with them since they've arrived and got going and got into more 5-on-5 this summer, leading into the fall, just behind closed doors, us coaches talking that they were unselfish. I mean, we didn't even have to really preach it that much. It was, for whatever reason, been an undercurrent for this group, and certainly every coach in America loves when they see that. And everybody talks about chemistry and liking each other, but they do, and you can tell by the way they compete on the court and by sharing the ball and cheering for one another. And certainly, when you're 2-0, you haven't had any stress yet. I mean, who knows when it gets hard? But initial impression has been really good that way, in terms of sharing it. And like I tell them, even in practice, like, we got some talent. We got more talent than we've had overall, and more options. And so you don't have to force it in the middle of a shot clock. You don't have to make those plays. There's other guys, waiting on the wings that can play with you.
Go ahead, Danny Peter, coach is right.
Coach, I guess you really just kind of answered this question, but the 50 points off the bench, that kind of proves that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we started a different lineup. I told them before game 1 that we were going to start different lineups the first 3, 4, 5 games at the minimum. So don't be surprised. And for a lot of different reasons that I'm not going to go into now, but it's been good. Both groups have got us off to great starts in both the first games, and with different, people out there. And, today we had guys, coming off the bench that obviously had started previously and played well. I mean, who knows how, this team is going to grow and get better, and, what's going to happen when we have issues. There's always going to be some problems, right? Whatever it is, and we'll find out then, which direction we're going to go.
When we met on Monday, you talked about Riley Kugel sort of playing through a slow start in that game. I thought he looked very confident from the beginning tonight. When you saw him in practice this week leading into that, did you feel that confidence?
I'm not right very often, but I told one of our coaches the day after we played Monday, so actually it's 2 days, Wednesday, going into practice that day in the meetings, I said, after watching the tape, like everybody else, naked eye, I'm like, man, he didn't have a very good outing. He struggled, nothing could go his way. He missed the first check out of the game when he got in, and they nailed the 3. I barked at him. And he just, had a funky play where he traveled. They called the travel even though he didn't. By letter of the law, he took 2 steps and got rid of it. It was a really heady play. The ball bounced high on him. He took 2 steps and he got rid of it because he knew he was going to travel or carry it as looking back. But he did some things in that game that made me arc my eyebrows in a good way. He didn't miss a check the rest of the game. He was 6 for 6. He sprinted back one time to break up a play and got a foul. But he had an effort. He made max effort. And I felt really good about him going into the week, and I told one of the coaches that he's going to play better. He's coming. He's been practicing better. He's getting more comfortable, and I'm happy for him. You know, I know he was disappointed individually, but he didn't show it in the locker room after the game. He was like everyone else was. So, you know, he's got a long way to go like we all do, but he showed some signs tonight of what he's capable of for us.
Back to Paul.
Small sample size so far, but just your first impressions of the guys working at the 5 and what you've seen from them.
You know, we're a work in progress. We're a work in progress. We threw it down there a little more than we did the other night, and that was on purpose with mixed results. You know, that's got to be a part of our arsenal. We can't just, you know, spread it on the perimeter and shoot it. We've got to have a little bit of an inside presence where we're just not getting to the line. You know, the other team's getting to the line way more than us, 2 games in a row, and a lot of that has to do with just not throwing the ball inside. And it was almost a luxury for us the first 2 years because we threw it in there so much and we got to the line so much, and we're just not built quite like that. So we've got to figure out a way to get to the line more, and certainly, you know, giving those guys opportunities down there is part of it. But you know, not looking, you know, breaking down the stats, I thought they were better today. I thought they were a little better today. I thought they were a better week of practice, and they just got to continue to get better. Like, they're 3 sophomores, they just got to have a great mindset every single day. They have to have a great approach, and they got to be coachable, which they are. They're great guys, they're great kids, and they want to do right. And so, you know, to me, that makes me believe that they'll have a chance to get better.
David in the middle.
You mentioned the inside presence, but at the same time, in the first half especially, your guards were able to attack, go directly to the rim, get the pull-up jumpers, or even dunk it late in. Does that exemplify what you said in preseason, that you have a much more versatile backcourt that can just go attack on their own?
Yeah, I wouldn't call any of those guys that we play out there, you know, one-trick ponies. I mean, they're not just shooters. They can make shots, you know, the majority of them, but they can put the ball on the deck, and they've got some, you know, game off the bounce. And what I love about them is they can create for each other. It's not just creating for themselves. I thought Kanye Clary played more like he does in practice. He saw a little bit of the dynamic ability that he has, the finished package that he has, and he's really hard to keep in front. You know, he's really hard to keep in front. And you know, our biggest issue is, you know, the elephant in the room is just, you know, rebounding. You know, we're not going to be the same that way. We're just not. I mean, I promise you, we're going to work our tails off to be better at it every single outing. But it's 2 games in a row where, you know, we knew going in that this team was going to challenge us on the defensive backboards. Like they were. That's who they were in the first game, and we knew it this game. And without looking at the tape, you know, giving up 18 offensive rebounding and winning by that margin it's hard to believe for me.
I don't know if anybody thought you were serious about taking Cam Matthews and bringing him off the bench, but that's exactly what you did, and he played really well in the minutes he had. What was that conversation like? And then later in the game, it looked like he took a little bit of a bump. Do you have any kind of update on it?
We didn't have a conversation about it. They come down with about 11 minutes left in the game, and that's when they find out who's starting. That's the way we've always done it for the most part, unless it's a situation where someone started a long time and we're making a change. You know, I usually tell them that shit around that day, and, you know, if we need to have a sit down. But I had warned everybody, I had explained to everybody that was going to be the case. And, you know, I don't even know yet, haven't got there about, you know, who will start in the next game, but he handled it like a pro. He handled it like a vet. He wasn't fazed by it, and he came out of the gate and played really, really well. And the positive about it is he didn't have 2 quick fouls.
Anything else for